Okay, this is the video 9.3. It's both the worksheets and the workbook. It says the number of figurines D that Jenna can paint at a house H, or paint at H hours is given by D equals 12H. Graph the relationship between H and D. So we know that for every 1 hour, you're basically doing 12 figurines. So it's 1 to 12. Then this one would be 24, which is right here. And 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12 is 48. 5 times 12 is going to be 60. Then then you would have to do the second part, which says use 2 units on the horizontal axis to represent 1 hour and 1 unit on the vertical axis to represent 6 figurines. So they wanted you to count by sixes, basically. So they spread it out. If you guys did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right across the bottom, that's fine also. Your graph would come out to this, and it would be a perfectly straight graph. And it says, what type of graph is that? Well, if it's straight, it would either be a line graph, which you guys learned the better word, which is linear. How many figurines can Jenna paint in 2.5 hours? So we go to 2.5, and that's going to bring you up to 30 figurines. How long will it take Jenna to paint 54 figurines? So go all the way up to 54 figurines. Come over here, that's going to be 4.5 hours. It says, how long will it take Jenna to paint? No, I already did that. If Jenna has to paint at least 48 figurines, how many hours will she need to paint? Express your answers in the form of an inequality where H stands for the amount of time. Okay, so we know 48. So we go over here, and it's got to be 4 hours or more, or equal to, because if she did, she would finish the 48th figurine right on the 4th hour. So that works. So H is greater than or equal to 4 hours. Name the dependent and independent variables. If we go back to our original, the dependent variable, the number that's dependent on the other, is going to be D, and H has something being done to it. Next question. Water is being drained from a fish tank. The water level, y centimeters at a time of x minutes, is given by y equals 60 minus 5 times x. Complete the table and graph the relationship between x and y. So first of all, complete the table. So what we're doing here is we're taking our x value, we're multiplying it by 5, and then 60 minus whatever you get there. So this one would be 5 times 4 is 20. 60 minus 20 is going to be 40. I'll even write that in. We'll make it look good. Same idea here. 6 times 5 is 30, so this one would be 30. And 10 times 5 is 50, so 60 minus 50 is going to be 10. You would then graph those, and they tell you exactly how to set it up, where use 1 unit on the horizontal axis to represent minutes. So we go minutes on the bottom, and then we would do and 2 units on the vertical, which, and 2 units on the vertical axis to represent 10 centimeters. So you're going to skip count by tens, but you're going to use every 2 units. So if you graph that, it would look like that. How many minutes will the water be level in 25? Or what is the water level at 3 minutes? So we go to 3 minutes, go straight up. It's going to be halfway between 40 and 50, which is 45. How many minutes will the water be level in 25 centimeters? 25. It's going to be 7 minutes. How long will it take for all the water to drain from the bank or the tank? So to get all the way down to 0, you'd probably want to extend this all the way down. I'm going to use a straight line because it'll look better. Bam. It's going to be big, but it'll work. That's going to be 0, and that's going to be at 12 minutes. And then what is the average drainage rate of the fish tank? In other words, how many centimeters is it losing per minute? So if we go from 1, or if we go from 2 to 3, it lost 5, and it's going down 5 centimeters per minute. Okay. The fee is C dollars for a certain amount, or a certain electrician charges is given by C equals 30 times T plus 20, where T is the number of hours the electrician spends on the job. Complete the table and then graph the relationship. Okay, so it's 30 times the amount of hours plus an additional 20. All right, so I'll fill this in and we'll go from there. So 2 times 30 is 60 plus 20 is 80. 3 times 20 is going to be, or 3 times 30 is 90 plus 20 is going to be 110. That's ugly. And 4 times 30 is going to be 120 plus 20 is 140. Next, you're supposed to graph it. Use 2 units on the horizontal. So you're going to skip count across. And to represent 1 hour, and then 1 unit on the vertical to represent 20. So you'd be going up by 20s, and then you'd be going every other one here. Find the fee that the electrician charges for 1.5. So we go to 1.5. It's going to be right about there. Okay, so that's about $65. Obviously, it's not going to be exact unless you guys plugged in the number. Then the electrician charges $95 for a job based on the graph. How many hours did the electrician work? So try to find 95. So it's going to be, this is 90. A little bit above it is going to be right about here. So that looks like 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. What is the electrician's average salary rate if the electrician is paid $95 for the job? So we go over here, we find 95, which is going to be right about there. So you're going to take 95, you're going to divide it by 2.5 hours, because that's 2.5 hours, and you get $38 per hour. What is the minimum fee the electrician charges for any job? Express your answer in the forms of an inequality to represent C, where C stands for the amount of money. Basically, if he works 0 hours, but he, I guess, shows up to the job, he has to make at least 20, because if you plugged in 0 here, 0 times 30 is 0, plus an additional 20 is $20. So I'm going to stop it here because this is taking longer than I thought it would. But hopefully this helps. I'm going to save this as video worksheet. You guys will be able to read it from there.